Hi, hello. Welcome to Ayshu Vlog channel. Today we are going to talk about the AZ-900 practice questions for part 3. Already we posted videos on Azure chapter-wise explanations as well as part 1 and part 2 AZ-900 practice questions for you guys. And also I have shared some real-time exam question from my own experience. So let's get started. So these questions are taken from your Microsoft Learning Path, and I hope this will be useful to just recall all the concepts behind each and every question. The first question is question number 51. You need to process messages from your queue. Parse them by using some existing imperative logic written in Java, and then send them to your third-party API. Which serverless option should you choose? Now we are going to see some questions on Azure Functions and Logic Apps. So the options given is Azure Functions or Logic Apps. The difference between functions and logic apps is whenever there is a keyword as coding, then we should go for Azure Functions. Whereas whenever there is a keyword like workflow or logic operators and those kind of connectors, that will come under Azure Logic Apps. So here they clearly mentioned about the logic written in Java code. That means it should come under Azure Functions. Next question. You want to orchestrate a workflow by using APIs from several well-known services. Which is the best option for this scenario? As I said in the previous question, here for logic apps, workflow is the keyword. Hence, we can go for the option Logic Apps. Logic Apps makes it easy to create a workflow across well-known services with less effort than writing code and manually orchestrating all the steps yourself. Next question. Your team has limited experience with writing custom code, but it seems tremendous value in automating several important business processes. Which of the following options is your team's best option? As I said earlier, when we need code, then we should go for functions. And when it is mentioned as less knowledge in coding or when we want to ignore coding part, then we should prefer logic apps. Azure Logic Apps is best suited for users who are more comfortable in a visual environment that allows them to automate their business processes. Logic Apps is the best option in this scenario. Next question. We are going to have some questions on the topic Azure Solutions. You want to be alerted when new recommendations to improve your cloud environment are available. Which service will do this? Whenever we need any personalized recommendation. So here the keyword is personalized recommendation or the recommendations for Azure Advisor, because that is the tool which always recommends us to go for the Azure services. Hence, the option 1 is the right answer here. Azure Advisor can alert you when new recommendations are available. Next question. Which service provides official outage root cause analysis RCAs for Azure instance? As it's mentioned, we need to find out the problem and also the root cause. Then it directly defines about the service Azure Service Health. Azure Service Health provides incident history and RCAs to share with your stakeholders. Here, the keyword in the question is RCAs. Next question. Which service is a platform that powers application insights, monitoring for VMs, containers, and Kubernetes? For monitoring all the applications, we need to go for Azure Monitor. Hence, the option 2 is the right answer for this question. Next question. The next set of questions will be under the topic security. How can Tailwind traders enforce having only certain applications run on its VMs? To achieve this condition given in the question, we need to create an application control rule in Azure Security Center. Hence, the option 2 is the right answer. With Azure Security Center, you can define a list of allowed applications to ensure that only applications you allow can run. Azure Security Center can also detect and block malware from being installed on your VMs. The other two is not matching or relevant for this question. Hence, you can go for the second option here. Next question. What's the easiest way for Tailwind traders to combine security data from all of its monitoring tools into a single report that it can take action on? Collect security data in Azure Sentinel. By collecting security data in Azure Sentinel, you will be able to combine all the security data, also will be able to monitor on the same time. Azure Sentinel is Microsoft's cloud-based SIEM. A SIEM aggregates security data from many different sources to provide additional capabilities for threat detection and responding to threats. In real-time exam, I got a question with the keyword in the question as SIEM and the options given as Azure Sentinel as well. So make sure you are remembering this point about Azure Sentinel. SIEM should come under Azure Sentinel. Also, SOAR should also come under Azure Sentinel. Next question. Which is the best way for Tailwind traders to safely store its certificates so that they are accessible to cloud VMs? The keyword in the question is certificates. Azure Key Vault will be used to store the certificates safely. Hence, the option is third one. Azure Key Vault enables you to store your secrets in a single central location. Key Vault also makes it easier to enroll and renew certificates from public certificate authorities. Next question. How can Tailwind traders ensure that certain VM workloads are physically isolated from workloads being run by other Azure customers? Configure the network to ensure that VMs on the same physical host are isolated. This is not possible. These workloads need to be run on premises. Run the VMs on Azure dedicated host. When we want to physically isolate, then the option to go for is Azure dedicated host. Azure dedicated host provides dedicated physical servers to host your Azure VMs for Windows and Linux. Physically isolated is the keyword here. Next question. Next set of questions from topic secure network connectivity. An attacker can bring down your website by sending a large volume of network traffic to your servers. Which Azure service can help Tailwind traders protect its app service instance from this kind of attack? When we say large volume and if there is an attack, then that means that comes under DDoS attack. Hence, we can go for Azure DDoS protection, which helps to protect us from DDoS attacks. DDoS protection helps protect your Azure resources from DDoS attacks. A DDoS attack attempts to overwhelm and exhaust an application resources, making the application slow or unresponsive to legitimate users. That means when we have a capacity, but then there is an attack by giving large volume of data so that our system may break down. During that kind of attack, DDoS protection will help to prevent from such attacks. Next question. What is the best way for Tailwind traders to limit all outbound traffic from VMs to known host? For outbound traffic, Azure Firewall is the best option. Hence, we can go for create application rules in Azure Firewall. Azure Firewalls enables you to limit outbound HTTPS traffic to a specified list of fully qualified domain names, FQDN. Hence, second is the right option. Next question. How can Tailwind traders most easily implement a deny by default policy so that VMs can't connect to each other? The first and third option looks irrelevant here. And also when we say deny by default, that is a keyword. It should come under Network Security Group Rule, that is NSG. Hence, the second option is right. Create a network security group rule that prevents access from another VM on the same network. The network security group rules enables you to filter traffic to and from resources by source and destination IP address, port, and protocol. Next question. Next set of questions from identity management topic. How can the IT department ensure that the employees at the company's retail stores can access company applications only from approved tablet devices? If in case we do work from home and if our device is the personal device, then it will be validated and approved by How can the IT department ensure that employees at the company's retail stores can access company applications only from approved tablet devices? To validate the approved tablet devices, we need to go for conditional access. Conditional access enables you to require users to access your applications only from approved or managed devices. Hence, the approved tablet devices is the keyword from the question. Next question. How can the IT department use biometric properties such as facial recognition to enable delivery drivers to prove their identities? As we all know, this MFA or multi-factor authentication is used to include something the user knows, like something the user has and something the user is. Like any MFA code or thumb impression or any additional IT validation, that is identity validation, that comes under multi-factor authentication. Hence, third is right answer. Next question. How can the IT department reduce the number of time users must authenticate to access multiple applications? As you all know, in our organization, usually there will be SSO, so that if there are different set of applications, only the general organization user ID and credentials will be used to log in into different set of applications. And automatically there will be an option called continue with sign on, so that we don't need to provide our email ID every time. Rather, the single sign on will help to just sync with our organization level user ID and credentials. Hence, the first one is the right choice. SSO enables a user to remember only one ID and one password to access multiple applications. Next question. Next set of questions from cloud governance topic. How can Tailwind traders allow some users to control the virtual machines in each environment, but prevent them from modifying networking and other resources in the same resource group or Azure subscription? In this case, we need to use the Azure role-based access control. Hence, we'll go for the first option. Azure RBAC enables you to create roles that define access permissions. You might create one role that limits access only to virtual machines and a second role that provides administrators with access to everything. Hence, the first one is the right answer. Next question. Which is the best way for Tailwind traders to ensure that the team deploys only cost-effective virtual machine SKU sizes. To make sure this condition, we can use Azure policy. Hence, the option first is right. Create a policy in Azure policy that specifies the allowed SKU sizes. After you enable this policy, that policy is applied when you create new virtual machines or resize existing ones. Azure policy also evaluates any current virtual machines in your environment. The other two are not matching to our question, so that we can ignore those two. And the first one is right. Next question. Which is likely the best way for Tailwind traders to identify which billing department each Azure resource belongs to? Track resource usage in spreadsheet? No. Split the deployment into separate Azure subscriptions where each subscription belongs to its own billing department? No. Apply a tag to each resource that includes the associated billing department. We can use resource tags like a unique separator between different set of resources. Tags provide extra information or metadata about your resources. The team might create a tag that's named billing department, whose value would be the name of the billing department. You can use Azure policy to ensure that the proper tags are assigned when resources are provisioned. Tags are nothing but in Jira tool and all, we used to have option called label, where we will be just grouping all similar tickets using the label name. Similarly, here we have the resource tags. Next question. Next set of questions from topic compliance and privacy. Where can the team access details about the personal data Microsoft processes and how the company processes it, including for Cortana? How our data is used or managed, that can be seen in Microsoft privacy statement. Hence, the option first is right. The Microsoft privacy statement provides information that's relevant to specific services, including Cortana. The other two are irrelevant, so that we can ignore. Next question. Where can the legal team access information around how the Microsoft Cloud helps them secure sensitive data and comply with applicable laws and regulations? As it is related to the compliance and with applicable laws and regulations, the option is Trust Center. The Trust Center is a great resource for people in your organization who might play a role in security, privacy, and compliance. Next question. Where can the IT department find reference blueprints that it can apply directly to its Azure subscriptions? The blueprint can be seen in compliance documentation section. Hence, the second one is right. The compliance documentation provides reference blueprints or policy definitions for common standards that you can apply to Azure subscription. Next question. Next set of questions from Azure cost. Which is the best first step the team should take to compare the cost of running these environments on Azure versus in their data center? Then in this case, they should use total cost of ownership calculator to compare the differences in moving that to cloud or to keep in the data center. Running the total cost of ownership calculator is a great first step because it can provide an accurate comparison of running workloads in the data center versus on Azure, certified by an independent research company. Next question. What is the best way to ensure that development team does not provision too many virtual machines at the same time? To reduce the usage of virtual machines, we can just apply spending limits to the development team's Azure subscription. So if we exceed our spending limit, active resources are deallocated. You can then decide whether to increase your limit or provision fewer resources. The other two are irrelevant here. Next question. Which is the most efficient way for the testing team to save cost on virtual machines on weekends when testers are not at work? whenever they're not at work, as seen in previous question, deallocate the virtual machines when they're not in use. When you deallocate virtual machines, the associated hard disk and data are still kept in Azure, but you don't pay for CPU or network consumption, which can help save cost. We are now at the end of part 3 AZ-900 Q&A video. If in case you guys have any question in this AZ-900 journey and you are preparing it now, then this video will be really helpful, and also ask your questions in comments so that we'll be able to help you out. Don't forget to subscribe our channel if you are watching our video for the first time. Also, don't forget to check out all other videos in our channels and show some support by commenting or liking our video. Please share this video with your friends who are going to prepare for AZ-900. This will be really helpful to them. See you all in next video. Until then, bye.